Okay, I think we're live. Hello, everyone. I am Felix Contreras from NPR Music's Alt Latino, and I'm thrilled to be with you tonight and in conversation with Ibeyi and Emicida for Capital One City Parks Foundation Summer Stage Anywhere. Summer Stage is New York City's largest free outdoor performing arts festival that produces nearly 100 shows across all 5 boroughs every summer. And we're proud to say that Emicida and Ibeyi are part of the Summer Stage family, as they have both performed in the festival in Central Park before. While health and safety guidelines prevent us from gathering together, Summer Stage is bringing daily digital performances to you anywhere. This is in July and August. So look out for more performances at SummerStageAnywhere.org. And with that, I want to welcome everybody watching online, and I especially want to welcome our guests today. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Ibeyi and Emicida, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so just to get started, this is truly an international affair. So let's start with Naomi. Where are you? What city are you in?
I'm in Paris.
In Lisa Kainde.
I'm in London.
And Emicida.
Eu tô do ladinho da cidade de São Paulo, não na cidade, mas do lado dela, uma cidade chamada Mairiporã.
Is next to São Paulo City, in a city called Mairiporã, very close to São Paulo, but not in São Paulo City.
Marcela is going to do a little translating for us, so thank you so much, Marcela, for being here.
My pleasure.
Obrigado, I think you said. Yeah.
De nada.
Okay. First question I think that people would like to know is, how is everybody doing? How are you? This is a very, very, very difficult time. And so we want to talk a little bit about it. So Naomi, how are you doing in Paris?
I'm doing great. It's a crazy time, but a lot of time to reflect on a lot of things. But I'm fine. I'm good.
Lisa Kainde.
I feel, honestly, it's the same as Naomi. I've had a lot of time to reflect. I actually feel grateful because I just bought a piano, and so I've been able to write a lot of music, write the next album, and just lose myself in this world, and try to grow as much as possible. But yeah, I'm really blessed.
Wow. Emicida.
Como que você tá, Emicida?
Tô bem. Eu moro nas montanhas, né? Então eu planto minha comida aqui, eu tenho uma rotina muito bacana, de uma maneira que eu nunca tinha visto. Toda a família tá em casa todo dia, isso é uma coisa que me alegra muito, embora a gente esteja num contexto bastante triste. E aí eu tenho ocupado meu tempo para estudar, para ler e para tentar ajudar as pessoas que estão atravessando esse período numa situação menos confortável que a minha.
He said that he's fine. He lives on the mountains and he is growing his own food at the moment. And he has his family with him, the whole family, which makes him very happy, even if it's a sad time. And he's taking the opportunity to support people that need it this time from his house. But he's fine.
A while back, like around about May, I heard someone speaking, and it was a saxophone player named Wayne Shorter, who played with Miles Davis a long time ago. And one of the things he said was that the virus is a teacher. And I think it was Lisa Kainde, you touched on that a little bit. What I want to ask each one of you, what has the virus taught you? I'm going to start with Emicida this time.
Emicida, o que o vírus te ensinou?
Acho que o primeiro ensinamento do vírus, não só para mim, mas o que a gente deveria se concentrar, é que a gente tem um modelo de sociedade que é muito nocivo para o planeta. E que essa microbiologia que agora coloca todo mundo contra a parede precisa receber mais atenção. Porque a gente faz parte do ciclo da natureza, a gente não é dono dela. E é muito perigoso que a gente produza e consuma de maneiras tão irresponsáveis que acabam resultando nesse tipo de situação.
Okay, so he said that what he learned, and he think that it was everybody should concentrate on at the moment, is that we are living a very nocive way, and we should be very careful at the moment, because when you talk about microbiology, that is this virus, it makes us understand that we don't control the nature. Actually, we are part of the nature, and we should be more careful because we are living in a very nocive way, and in very dangerous way, producing a lot of things that are dangerous to the world and to the nature. So that is what he learned and is concentrating on.
Wow, that's beautiful. Lisa Kainde.
I guess I don't know if I learned it, but it confirmed it, that acts of kindness and community and friends and family are the most important thing. And then it's what actually I've learned through this whole process also is how important it is to heal yourself and your friends and your community, and how important it is to concentrate on that and go deeper and open those boxes that we are all scared to open. And I think that one of the reasons why the world is actually moving forward right now is because we are all had so much time to be at home, and we're all confronted with our thoughts and our needs.
And our fears.
And our fears.
Okay, Naomi.
I really agree with everything that was said. I was going to say quite the same thing as Lisa, but it's normal, we're twins, so sometimes we think the same. But yeah, I was gonna tell, we live in a life where it's always the next thing, and we always wanting more and more and more, which is normal because that's the human nature. But I think to have time, it's been 3 months where we are with ourselves, and we have to heal ourselves, and as Lisa said, go through our fears, what we really want, what we don't want. And I think that was I could say the great thing about this pandemic is to be with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should every year have like 2 weeks where we can do that. Right. I think it should be like a program in everybody's life.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like an obligated thing.
Mandatory. You mean
mandatory? Like you should stay to your house and put your shit out.
We'll have to come up with a name for that period of time. Okay, so let me ask. I'll ask one of you from Ibeyi. Where were you guys when the lockdown started? Were you in touring? Were you going to start a tour? Were you recording? Where were you professionally right as the lockdown started?
Sorry, no.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I was gonna say we were actually really lucky, because when lockdown happened, we just had finished touring.
Yeah,
we were thinking about retreating and writing the next album. So for us, it was the best. I mean, even if you can't say that, it was the best time possible. Because we were not touring, so we didn't have to disappoint so many people by not being able to perform.
And actually, what I have to say, sorry, Lisa, it was the first time we wanted to take some holidays between albums, because, for example, between between the last show we did for the first one and the recording of the second one, we took a month.
Wow.
So So it was the first time we were like, we're gonna take some holidays and figure it out what we really want and just chill and leave, you know.
And then what happened is that instead of being able to go away and go to thousands of shows and different countries and staying up all night and not sleeping for 48 hours and being, you know, like experiencing wild life, lockdown happened.
At home.
And we were at home. And so we were like, okay, well, I guess this is what we need to do now. It's write this album. There's no experience in wildlife. That now it's experiencing the inner life, right? That this is the journey.
Oh, that's funny. Emicida, where were you professionally when this started?
Como que estava a sua carreira quando o lockdown começou? Se você tinha algum show planejado, o que isso atrapalhou, qual foi o impacto?
Nós tínhamos alguns shows, né? A gente vinha no Brasil de uma grande apresentação, onde a gente fez o nosso primeiro bloco de carnaval. A gente colocou 70 mil pessoas nas ruas de São Paulo. Então a gente estava muito empolgado e a gente estava às vésperas de começar uma tour pela Europa. Aí uma amiga nossa, Drica Barbosa também, que trabalha com a gente, ela iria viajar uma semana antes da gente. Quando cancelaram a turnê da Drica, aí eu já falei, ih, rapaz, vai ser mais sério do que a gente pensava, vai cancelar tudo. E de repente, uma semana depois, estava todo mundo de castigo em casa. E assim estamos há 4 meses.
De castigo.
De castigo.
De castigo.
Yeah, so he said that he had a lot of shows and gigs booked because when lockdown started was after they did for the first time a party during the carnival where they managed to put together 70,000 people in São Paulo.
Wow.
And was just before he was starting the Amarelo International Tour. So, and Drica Barbosa, that works with him at Laboratório Fantasma, had a tour booked in Europe just a couple of weeks before him. And when her shows started to get canceled, then he said, okay, that's it. Mine are going to get canceled as well. And then he said that like a couple of weeks after that, he was already grounded at home and he's there still for 4 months now.
Wow. How do you think that this lockdown, let me try that again. And before I ask the next question, I want to remind people who are watching that you can send questions in. Just whatever platform you're watching on, just activate the chat room and our monitor will find the questions and send them and I'll read them to the artists here. But the question I wanted to ask is if you think that the time that you've spent home, and like you said, each of you have said that you're going within, do you think that will change or affect your creative process in writing music, collaborating, or just thinking about how you express yourself musically? Do you think that how will that affect your creative process? Let's start with Emicida again, and talk in short bursts so that Marcela, because it's a complex question, that way Marcela can.
Ele falou como que você acha que essa pandemia e esse período em casa incluso, né, olhando para dentro de você, que você disse que você está passando, vai impactar a sua maneira de criar, para compor, para escrever, se você sente que isso vai impactar a maneira de criação sua?
Tem um grande gênio da nossa música chamado João Gilberto, e uma vez eu vi uma entrevista do João Gilberto dizendo que nos momentos em que ele estava triste, que ele estava angustiado, ele preferia não gravar canções, porque de alguma maneira ele sentia que o espírito daquele momento ia ficar para sempre dentro daquelas canções. Ele queria dividir atmosfera diferente com quem escutasse o disco dele. Desde o primeiro momento, as pessoas começaram a me perguntar, porque nós somos artistas, nós trabalhamos com criatividade e todo mundo fica ansioso perguntando, então vai sair um disco novo disso. Mas a verdade é que eu tenho usado esse tempo para estudar. Eu tenho usado esse tempo para estudar e para tentar aprimorar meus conhecimentos, esse pouco tempo que sobra também, porque tem muitas coisas para se fazer em casa sempre. Eu tenho duas filhas, então imagina eu com uma no colo e ajudando a outra a fazer alguma coisa. E o tempo que sobra eu uso para estudar, cara. Eu não me concentrei em gravar, não me concentrei. Eu escrevi muito pouco e eu fico sempre esperando que a música saia no momento em que ela sente que ela tem que sair, de uma forma natural.
Okay. So he said that once he heard from a genius, that is João Gilberto, that he didn't like to compose or create songs when he was sad and he wasn't feeling well. And Emicida agrees with that. And João Gilberto would say that he didn't like to do that because he believes that the sadness would be in the song and would stay in the song. And he said that somehow he kind of agree with it because he didn't have the desire of creating anything or writing anything. And because he's at home, a lot of people ask him, oh, after this time is going to come another album is going to come up. And actually is the opposite. He is using this time to actually perpetuate things that he would like to learn more, study more, instead of composing. So he wrote actually very little because he said that like even being at home, after studying, he also have a lot to do at home because he has two daughters. He's helping at home. So there are a lot of things that need to get done at home. And he believes that music, when a song needs to come out, it's just like come naturally. So he doesn't like to force it. And that's how he is doing at the moment, respecting that.
Só uma coisinha também que é importante. Quando eu falo desse tempo com as minhas filhas, não é uma coisa que eu esteja me lamentando, não. E tipo, meu Deus do céu, que tristeza. Não, eu tô muito feliz porque eu nunca tinha tido tanto tempo ininterrupto com a minha família. Eu tô feliz com o fato de poder viver isso aqui junto com elas. Então, vez ou outra eu escrevo. Mas eu tô aproveitando ao máximo esse tempo também, porque nossa rotina não nos permite.
So he said that like just one important flag, that when he says that he has a lot to do at home with his daughters, it's not in a negative way at all. Actually, the opposite. He's enjoying that because it's the first time that he has the opportunity to spend a lot of time without interruption with them. And he is focusing to get the most of it. So he's writing a little bit here and there, but actually he is trying to get the most of this time with his daughters. This is the first time that he has this opportunity.
And I'm at a disadvantage because I don't speak Portuguese, but I'm glad you guys do, so you can you can go back and forth. Let me ask you before we go to Ibeyi, how old are your daughters?
Quantos anos tem a Teresa e a Estela?
The first one, 10. The second, 2.
Wow, those are good ages. Very different.
Adventure every day. Yeah.
My sons are 16 and 19, and it doesn't change. It's an adventure every day. Okay, Lisa, how do you think it's going to affect your creative process?
It's interesting because obviously I'm such in a different moment of my life. I don't have kids. I lived alone. I didn't have a roommate at the time, so I was really alone in this house. So I read a lot, and that inspired me a lot. And then I wanted to do something. I couldn't stop obsessing about the fact that I was not that I wanted to help somehow, and I didn't know what to do. And as soon as I realized that I could sing for all of us, even from my house, that could be something I could send out, and that I could be present that way, and that I could write songs that are sometimes sad, but mostly about getting better, and about what we can do, and about loving, and about healing. So that's what happened. And then obviously writing for me, it's what I do to feel better. So I ended up being at the piano every day, writing a lot of bad songs too. I always say bad songs are underrated. I ended up writing a lot of bad songs, corny songs, but I felt like I was doing something. I felt like I was singing, and I was thinking about people in the streets, and I was thinking about people in the hospital. And I was just trying to send all of that energy, to everybody.
That's the headline of this show. Bad songs are underrated.
Yeah.
That should be the name of one song.
Naomi, how's it affecting your creative process?
Actually, I didn't really do much music during the quarantine. I was painting. I was doing some food. How can I say it? Cooking, which I will never do before. But maybe it's gonna change when I'm gonna be in the studio. We'll see what's gonna happen, because Lisa started the process because she writes the song, and then I come in, and then in the studio, we produce. So we'll see what's gonna happen.
We have a question from a listener of some woman named Gladys, and the question is, how do Ibeyi and Emicida collaborate with a language barrier? The music they have done together is so beautiful.
Thank you.
We understand each other.
There's no language. Then there's no language barrier. And we understand.
Yeah, we understand each other. We don't need even to talk the same language. And also we keep laughing all the time, which is incredibly nice. And we do loads of, movements with the hands.
Sometimes I speak in English, sometimes I forget.
No, and we speak in English, Spanish, Portuguese. We're speaking, the universal language, which is the laugh, and the jokes. And it's easy. That's why we love those collaborations, because it was easy to do them. It was like fluent, not fluent. How can I say that? Fluid.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the people who are watching, I can attest to that, because it's almost like you guys have your own language. You guys we've only been together online twice, and you guys are making jokes and laughing. It's fun. I can see that happening. I think we want to take some time right now to talk a little bit about each of the bands or each of your music, for people who may not be completely familiar with your music. We've played on Alt Latino. We've played music from both artists, and we've talked a little bit about the beginnings and all that. But let's do that a little bit right now, if you don't mind. Let's talk a little bit about the beginnings of the bands, or the beginnings of the careers and the musics, and the influences, where they come from, because they're very different, but there's something common. There's something that you guys have that's the same. And I don't know how to describe it other than what you guys say. It's like an unspoken language. But why don't we, Naomi, why don't you talk a little bit about the beginnings of the band?
Of the band. So we started playing shows when we were really young. We were maybe 16 or 17. And then we were signed to XL Recordings, and we did our first album. We were 18. And now we're 25. So, it's been quite a long time. And yeah, it was Lisa doing some songs. And at first I didn't know if I wanted to be in the band or not.
She hated the songs. She hated
I was not sure. Not all the songs. Not all
she
the
didn't
songs.
like them at all.
But you know what? There's the most the most like, girlish one that she was doing before that, I was like, no. Now I kind of like it. It's a banger, I have to say. So but so she was doing some songs, and so I didn't know. Sometimes I would not like them, and at one point I was like, yes, let's do it, and so we just started like that, and the stars were aligned. And we had luck, but it's a lot of work too. We're working hard.
Yeah.
And Lisa, do you want to add something?
Do I want to add something? That I think that what I realized with Ibeyi and that I love is that we did it really old school. We toured a lot, and we toured everywhere in the world, and we came back and we came back and we came back and we came back, and I think that's how we built our band and our story, right? By doing it through live shows. And it really taught us so much and made us grow so much. And now that we are not able to tour for a little while, it's just a reminder of how amazing it is to be in front of an audience and to tour the world, and how much it gave us to meet all of you around the world, and how much of a privilege it is.
And I got to say that I've seen you guys perform here when you come to DC, and the last time you came, you played a venue called the 930 Club, which is a fairly big sized room, and it just made me very happy and emotional when the crowd is singing your music, and it's it's Santeria influenced cantos, and it's just, and there's people from all over. It's not just the Latin crowd. It's like a multicultural audience singing this music and tapping into that spiritual energy of the music and of the songs. It was really spectacular. I got emotional. It was fun.
Thank you for saying that so much, because we realized that that's what we wanted to create. We wanted to create this space that feels like somehow like church, where you go and you sing and you feel free and you abandon yourself, but it's also not just in the brain, it's also physical, and you dance and you sweat, and we all together, and we want to arrive at a point where the audience is singing so much that we don't know who's performing and who is watching, right?
And we were laughing about that the other day, but I was saying, like, Lisa was saying a church, and I was saying, like, yes, a church, but with twerk, like church and twerk, it's great. That's what we want to create, that was it.
But I remember the shows. In a 930 Club. I love this club. I actually wear the socks all the time because they have this socks, and it's actually a joke that all of the musicians and people that work in the touring industry have, which is every time you see someone with a 930 pair of socks, that they played in DC, and we all recognize each other, which is really nice. And those shows are always special. Those two last shows in the 930 were really, really, really special.
Yeah.
Full of people, sold out. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, but we like to sell out venues. That's our style.
Church with twerking. Okay. On that thought, Emicida, what about you, man?
Ele tinha perguntado no início como que começou a tua carreira, como começou a banda, na verdade, né? Emicida, como que começou a carreira, porque ele falou, e quais são as influências, porque ele não consegue explicar exatamente como, mas vocês, apesar de terem estilos bem diferentes, ele consegue ver alguma coisa que é igual, onde a música de vocês se conectam. Então ele queria saber como que a sua carreira começou, como que você chegou até aqui, e quais são as suas influências e o que você acha dessa conexão por meio disso.
A primeira coisa é que eu sou muito ruim de twerk.
The first thing is he's very bad at working. That is the first thing.
Yo te aprendo, yo te aprendo.
Agora eu imaginei assim. Eu sempre entendo a música, desde o momento em que eu começo a fazer música, como uma pesquisa, sabe? É através da música que eu entendo o mundo e eu acabo me entendendo também. Aí eu também vou me conhecendo e conhecendo o mundo. A música sempre me proporciona essa troca. Entender ela como uma pesquisa me faz fazer uma imersão, vamos chamar assim, numa coisa que é muito característica do hip hop, principalmente do hip hop até o início dos anos 2000, que é um hip hop que sampleava trechos de outras músicas mais antigas. Esses samplers, esses fragmentos de artistas grandiosos, eles levaram tanto a mim quanto a minha geração a se conectar com toda a grandiosidade que veio antes da gente, sabe?
Pausa, senão não vou conseguir traduzir tudo. Segura. Okay, so I just said, like, let me translate that, otherwise I won't be able to translate everything. So he said that he understands music as a research, and he has always understood this way because he thinks that is through music that he understands the world and he understands himself as well. And in rap, especially until the year of 2000, roughly, most of rap would be done on top of samples. So sampling old musics and old songs. And because of that, and then I interrupted him. Go ahead. Pode continuar agora.
Por causa disso, eu me sinto conectado com a geração anterior. Eu acho que a nossa conexão, tanto eu quanto as meninas, temos uma crença muito profunda no poder de conexão da música, na força que a música tem de ser mais do que simplesmente entretenimento. A gente se compreende como a continuidade de algo muito grandioso. Eu acho que é por isso que a gente tem uma energia que se conecta com tanta beleza.
Yeah.
So he said that because of the samples and the sampling during rap, that he feels that he's connected to old generations as well. And because of that as well, he thinks that is aligned with a belief that music is more than just entertainment. And this is why he believes that is the same belief that both have, the Ibeyi and Emicida bands, believing that music is much more than that. Music can connect, music can bring much more. And that's why you can feel probably this connection between the bands, that is this beauty.
Yeah.
I remember reading an interview with John Coltrane. As you could tell, I'm a jazz fan, but John Coltrane used to say that all musicians are just vessels. We receive this energy from out in the universe, the energy and the spirit from out in the universe. And all musicians, whether it's famous jazz guy or the guy playing accordion at your favorite bar, everybody who plays music, it comes through us and then we present it out to other people. And that we're just vessel, we transmit. It's what Emicida was saying. It's like we bring it in and we transmit it out to other people.
A gente é só a ferramenta por onde sai, a gente é o portal por onde sai. A música é uma coisa muito maior do universo. Eu acho que a gente, os artistas, somos pessoas que são abençoadas, cara. A gente é abençoado por poder ser por onde a arte se conecta com o mundo.
He said that he definitely believed that the artists are just the tool. It's just a portal from where the music comes from the universe and then passing to people. And he truly believes that all the artists actually are blessed to be this connection between the music and the audience, to be this portal.
Absolutely. Okay, we have a question from a listener, and his name is, or the person's name is Aus Files, I think. The question is, it's a question for Ibeyi. As you get bigger and play to larger crowds, do you feel the message got lost? He says, I saw you at Hotel Cafe in LA and it was magical and intimate. And when I saw you in NYC or New York City, most folks were there to hear River.
That's an interesting question, actually. Thank you so much for asking that. I remember, I think Hotel Cafe was probably our first show in LA ever.
LA.
Small.
Yeah.
And it was a special, I think we did a special print. Rachel did a special print of it, and we have it framed in our house in Havana. So that's how I remember. And it was a special show. What I would say is, it is our role to take everybody in. I think, yes, it becomes harder, but that's what excites us. Suddenly when we get people that come to see us and they know one song, only River, or maybe only Deathless, and we have to take them in, we have to bring them in, so that when they leave the show, they got it all. We like fed them this energy, right? And we literally brought them closer to us. And that's why we play festival, when there's still people that don't know us that discover us through festival, and it's crowds of people that don't know us that are waiting for another artist. And yet you bring them in until they are in and they lose themselves and they abandon themselves to the music and to the moment with us.
And they sing.
And they sing and they're present. I think that's why we are excited to continue growing, because we know that we will always do that job. We will always create and make the best to create that moment for everybody. For the people that came from the first show, that are front row, that know every single lyrics that we recognize from so many shows, to the person that heard that, those cool twins were doing a show 10 minutes ago, went online, saw one song and thought, what, I might pop in.
That's sort of what you were talking about when you talked about the 9:30 shows. Yeah. Let's talk about the music that you guys have made together. Tell us about how it came together and how you were able to pull it off. Were you in the same place together? Did you send each other music? And will you do more?
Emicida, go first.
Como ele quer que vocês falem sobre as músicas que vocês fizeram juntos. Como que isso aconteceu, se vocês estavam no mesmo lugar, se vocês mandaram músicas um para o outro de lugares diferentes para se conectar, como que vocês se conheceram, como que isso foi?
Já tá dando nada. Eu acho que a nossa relação, ela sempre acaba sendo uma experiência de sincronia do analógico com o digital, né? Porque o afeto pela música, ele é analógico, ele faz parte da nossa vida. E aí a gente se conecta através de energias muito boas, assim. Então, eu lembro delas falar sobre um amigo delas que falou sobre um rapper do Brasil que podia ser para fazer uma colaboração junto. E aí a gente conseguiu se conectar de fato. E eu lembro que a gente ia fazer tudo isso aqui por Skype. Depois elas iam passar pelo Brasil em turnê, e eu estava fazendo uma coisa nos Estados Unidos também. Cheguei no finalzinho ali, a gente conseguiu se encontrar, e desde então a gente não se separou mais. Eu acho que a gente sempre teve essa coisa de misturar não só nossas linguagens musicais, mas também a nossa atmosfera espiritual.
So Emicida said that like the relationship that they have, he believes that is like a mixture between analog and digital worlds. He remembered that the girls mentioned that a friend of them mentioned about a Brazilian rapper that was him to them, and then they found him, and they are supposed in the beginning to do everything via Skype. But then Emicida managed to be in the very end of a tour in the US, and they were there as well, and they managed to meet in person before everything started. and it was magical. He said that the disconnection, they have disconnection that is pretty much the same atmosphere that they have, and since it remained the same atmosphere, and they never stopped doing things together since.
What's the perspective on the Ibeyi side? How does that work?
Lisa? I can hear you.
I think you're muted again.
I didn't hear myself.
Now.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you go, Nene.
No, you go.
Okay. It felt like family.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest I can describe it. It felt like we didn't have to explain what we were making. We didn't have to explain our roots. We didn't have to explain the different levels and the different stories and the background and the ancestors and the rhythm and the meaning and the mix and the deepness, yet the fun, yet the roughness, yet the poetry. We didn't have to explain that all of those things could be in one song, because that's who Emicida is. And so when we met him, it was easy and it was beautiful, and it was exciting to just create and see that it was flowing, and I like to think that it's a partnership that won't stop, and maybe when he's 80 and we're like 70, we'll continue to write songs together. We'll be all old and have, canes, and we'll continue to perform.
We have another question from a listener. Brother Herman Nomaido, I mispronounced the name. This is a question for Emicida. How did you meet Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra? It is a dream collaboration for me. The video for Kem Tem Amigo Tem Tudo, my Portuguese, I'm sorry. The video for that song was a great intro to anime, to Tokyo Ska, and to you for my two daughters. The question is, how did you meet Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra?
Como que você conheceu o Tokyo Ska Paradise? E é uma pessoa que diz que esse encontro para ele é mágico, e ele adora o clipe, a animação, e quem tem um amigo tem tudo, mas ele quer saber como que você conheceu o grupo.
Eles estavam fazendo uma turnê pelo Brasil, eles estavam vindo para fazer uma turnê no Brasil, fazer um disco comemorativo, e acho que o pessoal da gravadora deles no Japão falou que seria legal se eles gravassem com Emicida quando eles estivessem aqui no Brasil. E aí me mandaram a música. Eu achei a música incrível, porque quem estava trabalhando no estúdio com eles era um amigo meu, Dudu Marotti. E curiosamente tem uma coisa aí, eu tenho uma paixão muito grande pelo Japão. Eu sou muito viciado em desenhos japoneses, em mangás, eu leio muito. E isso me fez conhecer uma palavra ou outra em japonês. Quando a gente foi se encontrar no estúdio, eu fui fazer a música, eu fui no caminho e eu fui escrevendo a música, eu fui escrevendo, pegando todas as palavras em japonês que eu lembrava, só que eu fiquei muito desesperado, que eu falei, vai ser uma vergonha, eles vão dar risada disso aqui, não faz nenhum sentido. Só que quando eu fiz o rap em japonês, eles amaram. Aí parecia gol do Brasil, todo mundo começou a comemorar, a gritar, êêê! E aí, mano, a gente virou amigão. Depois a gente foi tocar no Japão, a gente tocou junto no Brasil, a gente tocou junto no Chile, sacou? Tokyo Ska é parte da nossa família também agora.
So Emicida said that they were touring in Brazil, or about to go to a tour in Brazil. And then the label, if he's not mistaken, the label said that would be nice if they could record with Emicida in Brazil. And then Emicida received their songs and listened to it, and he loved it, and he thought that was amazing. And he has a great passion about Japan, and he loves Japanese culture in a way, because he loves anime and cartoons from Japan, and he reads a lot of cartoons from Japan as well. And then he start trying to compose, and he did a rap with every word in Japanese that he knew, but probably nothing would make sense, because in his head he said, like, I'm just like throwing everything that I know in here, but probably is going to be horrible. And when he started throwing the rap in Japanese to them, they were celebrating like if Brazil was making a goal, because it was like somebody trying to do in Japanese. And then because of that, they became very good friends. And after that, Emicida went to Japan and met with them in there as well, and they played together again. And they are very good friends since, and they're still in touch, and was a great collaboration.
Go. I want to change the subject just a little bit and talk to you, all of you, about the reaction to what's going on here in the United States with the Black Lives Matter movement. And I think that there are many very good things about living here in the United States, but one of the negative things is that we don't look beyond where we are. We don't consider, many people don't consider how what happens here affects other people in other countries. And the Black Lives Matter movement seems to have had a profound effect anywhere where there are people with African descendants. And so I'm wondering, from each of you, how do you see the movement that's happening? Is it something that you think is about time that happened? And then how is it reflected in each one of your cities, in each one of your countries, in Paris, London, Havana, Brazil? Let's start with Lisa.
Well, that's it's really complicated question, because I think those conversations that I've been having in the past 5 months, I've been having my whole life as a mixed race woman, as a woman with an afro, as someone that once got arrested by the police, even if I've never lived in America, and obviously the experience of being Black in America is extremely complicated.
Well, in France too.
But there's racism. That's what I was going to say. There's racism in France. There's racism in London. There is definitely racism in Brazil. And I think the only change I see right now, which makes me hopeful, is I've been having this conversation with a lot of my friends that never even thought of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them realize that this was not just my problem, that this, or Black people's problem, but everybody's problem. I see them starting to question what about them made it okay to see what was happening and not do anything. I see them questioning the system, the whole system. I see them questioning the government. I see them questioning everything, and see them realizing the power they have and the change they can make by
Or
using,
even questioning their own parents.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. Honestly, it's really surreal, because we've been talking about it. We wrote a song about it. We wrote Deathless on the last album 2 years ago, and we performed it everywhere, and especially in the US, and saw the effect it had performing it in front of a US crowd and them screaming those words, "We are deathless." And we performed it in Brazil, and we saw the effect it had on a Brazilian crowd. It is about time.
Yeah.
It is so late. And I really hope that there's true change and that institutions will change a lot.
Do you want to add anything, Naomi?
I think she's no. I just want to add, like, there's racism obviously everywhere. Here we had a case too of a similar death, but it was 4 years ago. And so when the George Floyd murder happened here, it blew. I mean, everybody was on the streets here demanding justice for all Black people here, also Arabic people, and also for George Floyd and Adama Traore here, who is this one guy killed 4 years ago, in a similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's what is really difficult is that also realizing that half of the planet is learning about this now. When if you listen to Emicida's album, past albums, or to our past albums, or to a lot of Black mixed race people's album, you hear that all over it. And this is something that has been around for centuries. So it's just, that is the thing that is really complicated.
Yeah, it's hard to understand that is not, I think now people, with everything that happened now, people really know. And I think that is really important, and I hope we can grow from that.
Mm-hmm.
and change our ways. I feel like maybe before people knew, but they didn't see it. Now we have a video where you can see un hombre, how do you say nombre? A man, sorry. A man die, and you can get out, it can get out of your head. So now you can really see it. So I think people now understand. While before it was only talk,
Or part of the history book.
Or part of the history book, yeah.
And that is actually what is also interesting, is the question that people are asking themselves for the first time, which is, why didn't I believe it when it was just talk? Why did I need a video, right? Why did I need to actually see such violence to actually trust that it was happening when everybody was saying it before? But I just thought, nah.
Or even, wow, I didn't even think about that because I was never confronted with it.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Let's get Emicida to weigh in a little bit.
Emicida, a pergunta no início foi com o que aconteceu nos Estados Unidos. Ele falou que morando nos Estados Unidos, às vezes tem uma parte negativa que os Estados Unidos normalmente não olha para outros países e qual é a influência e o impacto que eles causam em outros países. Eles focam somente neles e isso é muito difícil. Mas com o que aconteceu com George Floyd e com os manifestos que vieram mundialmente depois do Black Lives Matter, ele queria entender como que cada país se manifestou em relação a isso e qual é a posição do país em relação a esse acontecido e ao Black Lives Matter, né? Se isso é uma coisa que é importante e qual é o seu ponto de vista em relação a isso depois desse acontecimento nos Estados Unidos.
Eu acho que, realmente, como ele disse, muitas das vezes que a cultura dos norte-americanos impacta países ao redor do planeta, não é de uma maneira positiva. O que eu vejo acontecer nesse caso específico do George Floyd é que o movimento Black Lives Matter, que é um movimento importante, inspirador e urgente, ele faz com que organizações que estão cientes das realidades locais dos países que são impactados pela cultura dos norte-americanos consigam de alguma maneira se apropriar e se aproveitar desse impacto midiático, sabe, positivamente falando, e conseguir fazer com que essas suas realidades também alcancem os veículos locais. Infelizmente, se tratando de um lugar como o Brasil, a mídia hegemônica coloca muito mais luz numa tragédia como essa, que foi a morte do George Floyd, e é importante que a gente fale sobre a morte do George Floyd, é importante que a gente se lembre quem matou o George Floyd, mas é fundamental, quando a gente trata da realidade do Brasil, reconhecer que a gente está falando de um país que mata um jovem preto a cada 23 minutos e
Yeah.
que só no ano de 2020 já matou dezenas de crianças. Aí a gente
Yeah.
está falando de um processo que ele é de fato um genocídio.
Yeah.
So he said that speaking about USA, unfortunately, a lot of time that the culture from the US and things from the US impact the world is not in a positive way. But he thinks that about the Black Lives Matters and what happened with George Floyd, that is inspirational movement and an urgent matter that need to be talked, and people need to talk about it. And this situation specifically actually gave in a positive way an argument for other parties in the world to utilize the media to talk about that, to show their reality and what is happening in their own country about that as well. And in Brazil specifically is a completely different world, if you think about it, in terms of racism. We are talking about a country where one young Black person is killed every 23 minutes in Brazil. So we are talking about a country that's just this year, like more than 10 young people died already. Black people died from the beginning. And we are talking about kids. We are not talking even about like adults. And so we are talking about like a genocide. We are talking about like a engine that is like killing people constantly. So this is completely different from what we saw in the US. So talking about George Floyd, he said is very important, of course, and it's very important to give us the voice to talk about the movement itself. But Brazil, talking specifically about Brazil, we have a much more urgent situation and a much more aggressive situation as well, unfortunately.
Thank you all for those answers. I think more people here in the United States should hear that and think about it. This was supposed to be an hour. We've got 2 minutes left before the hour, but we've got a couple of questions, and if it's okay with you guys, we can go over a little bit of the hour to answer these questions, if that's okay.
Falou que tem 2 perguntas para responder, se a gente puder passar de 1 hora.
Ok, Felix.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so here's a question from a guy named Rasan 3000. Given the larger interest in música sagrada Yoruba, is it a conscious effort to continue incorporating these elements in future music? This is for Ibeyi. This seems to serve as an undercurrent, a secret language for many practitioners, and new fans are also led to pursue the faith when they hear this music. Is this a goal that you had when you went into the studio to share this very special spiritualism with listeners?
I think, oh, sorry, Naomi, do you want to answer that one?
No, you can start. I just want to start, and I might, jump.
I think when I'm going to say something probably people don't want to hear, but it always was from Ibeyi started from such a selfish place of just us reconnecting with ourselves. It was never the want to become the Yoruba ambassadors.
No,
we just needed within ourselves to connect with our dad that had passed away, our sister that had passed away, Cuba, and ourselves and our spirits. And so we it came really naturally. The Yoruba came naturally out, and it continued to flow with our music and embrace everything. We never fought it. We never tried to put it in. We won't force it.
Yeah, so if it doesn't come, it doesn't come, you know. We're never gonna force it.
We feel we feel that forcing it is doing it a disservice, is somehow faking. It's somehow pretending to be who we are not. And I think the reason why people got to connect to the songs is because they were sang from a real place, right? From a real place of internal joy, love, admiration, prayer. We felt those ancestors. We felt our ancestors, right? When we sing, they sing through us. So I think that's why we'll never force it. It might come that there's an album where there's no Yoruba. I don't think there will ever be a show where there's no Yoruba, a live show where there's no Yoruba, because we will always sing Yoruba in the live shows. But on terms of songs, we always, Naomi and I were really clear about that and about keeping it real, right?
Yeah.
Marcela, I don't know if you can see the chat box, the chat room.
Yeah.
There's a question in Portuguese
Don't
from Michelle.
want to read it?
Michelle Muri.
Michele Muri. Emicida and Ibeyi as well. I'll say first in English. So she wants to know if you guys have idea in how big and powerful and was the presentation that you did together in Rock in Rio, and the transformation that it was for people that was watching the show. É sobre, ela quer saber, Emicida, sobre o show do Rock in Rio, se você tem noção do quão potente e transformadora foi a apresentação de vocês juntos.
Sim.
Sim.
Pra mim, é um show do festival, sabe? Acho que foi muito especial. Acho que a plateia estava muito aberta para receber aquele concerto e o momento que o Brasil atravessava pedia uma explosão espiritual daquela projeção, né? O momento que infelizmente o Brasil continua atravessando. Então eu tenho sim consciência dessa potência, dessa força, dessa explosão de luz que foi aquele espetáculo, e para mim foi uma honra estar com elas ali. Oxi.
So he said that yes, he knows how powerful it was and about the transformation that happened in there. And he said that in his opinion, it was the best concert in the festival. And he thinks that Brazil in that moment, the audience was open to receive that show, and they were there looking forward for the show. And Brazil in that moment, and unfortunately it still is, but was very much in need of a concert like that, so spiritual and with so much light. And so yes, he does know how powerful it was.
I think, yeah, I totally agree with Emicida. There was spirit. It was full of spirit. And I remember looking at the crowd, that was huge, and thinking,
it was huge.
Yeah, it was huge. And thinking what we are doing right now means something.
Yeah. And
that is why we're here. What do you want to say, right? When you're not, why are you here? What is your purpose? Well, at that moment, I felt that we were doing something, and we were saying something, and we were giving them something. And it was really special, and for us even more, because we had never played with so many musicians before. It was the first time we were doing Ibeyi songs, but playing with Emicida's musicians, and we felt somehow like flying.
It's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It was really powerful. It was really powerful, and we were really the three of us. We were really connected. And with the band too, so, you know, and we had a great time during the rehearsals and all that, and we knew what we really wanted to do, all three of us. So it was an amazing experience, and it was the first time we were playing in front of that many people too, because it was 70,000.
Wow.
And I think, and it was in TV, it was maybe 10 millions, right? Am I wrong? Can you ask Emicida if it's right?
Na televisão, considerando a audiência da televisão, era mais de 10 milhões de pessoas, né?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huge.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one last question, and then we can wrap this up. This is from Aaliyah. I think I know who this is. Can you ask them about the connection between medicine and music? For example, the jazz drummer Milton Graves was just featured in a New York Times article about how he is using rhythm to help heal his own cardiac condition. She's curious to know if this is a topic of conversation among musicians. Music is healing. She's also thinking of Omar Sosa concerts, whose shows always seem to be so healing to this woman who wrote Aaliyah. Do you think about that? Is there a conversation, the connection between music and medicine and music and healing?
Oh yes, for sure. I think music heals.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's some people who don't listen to music. I don't know how they do, because I couldn't. You listen to music when every part of your day, when you take a shower, when you feel sad, when you feel happy, when you want to dance, when you want to express something, when you want to feel something.
Eating strawberries.
No, but it's like it. I think what I love in music, it's when my body feels something, when I move, when I how can I express that, Lisa? I think you're better at explaining that for me. But music is beautiful because you feel in your body, you feel it, you move your head, you move your hips, or you cry, or you smile. It's beautiful. Of course, it's a healing.
I think what you want to say is, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the idea of being present. Music grounds you.
Yeah.
You're not in the past thinking about what you did wrong or what you did well or how beautiful the past was or how ugly it was. You're not in the future. What should I do? What am I doing? What is that? You're grounded. It's like meditation, right? You're in the moment. But I would say playing music saved me, because when I play music, I mean the word I'm saying, right? I believe in every word that comes out of my mouth, and I think it allows us to confront those feelings, to be less scared of them, to become friends with them, to relieve them, even the worst ones. But every time you relieve them, it gets easier, right? And it allows us connection. That's why Emicida was saying it connects us. It's probably the last thread that unifies the whole world. It doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, what you believe in. It doesn't matter. For a second, you're there, you're experiencing it, right? And your presence means something. For a second, you are there. You are part of something. I think that's why music heals.
Emicida, do you have anything to add?
A pergunta inicial, Emicida, é qual a conexão da música com a medicina, na sua opinião? Porque saiu um artigo do Milton Graves falando que ele está usando a música, o ritmo das músicas, na verdade, para curar uma condição cardíaca. E a pessoa, a Alia, que perguntou, queria saber qual é a opinião de vocês em relação a isso, se você entende essa conexão e como ela funciona.
Entendo. Concordo completamente. Eu penso que a primeira coisa, né, quando a gente pega, sei lá, a experiência do Gênesis na Bíblia Sagrada, É a voz de Deus dizendo no meio da escuridão, haja luz. E a música é uma linguagem de silêncio e som. E a gente precisa entender que a primeira coisa que existiu e que fez a vida acontecer foi a música, olhando por essa perspectiva, sabe? Tem um músico brasileiro chamado Mateus Aleluia, um gênio, um artista incrível, e ele fala sobre isso, que o som do vento, o som da água, o som do trovão, tudo isso foram as primeiras manifestações sonoras. Então a música antecedeu tudo. A música foi a primeira a chegar na existência, ela chega inclusive antes do homem. Quer traduzir essa parte?
Mhm. Yeah, I will translate the first bit. He said that, yeah, he understands and he agrees with these statements that music and medicine is connected. He said that, like, if you look at the Bible, when you have the word that say that so be light, and you have light, like this is music as well. And there is a person that in his opinion is a genius in Brazil, that is a musician as well, that is called Mateus Aleluia. And he says that the sounds actually came before everything. If you think about, like, when the world was created, the sound of the wind, the sound of the water, the sound of things actually was the first thing that existed before anything. Now you can continue. Pode continuar.
A música, ela é a nossa primeira forma de se conectar com Deus. E aí depois, a segunda função da música, ela é muito interessante, porque se a gente viaja para milhares, milhões de anos atrás, as pessoas não eram alfabetizadas de maneira a poder escrever que medicamento que elas podiam tomar quando elas fossem acometidas por alguma doença. Isso faz com que a canção, as pequenas canções, essas pequenas canções curtas, populares, fosse usada no começo da história como uma maneira de memorizar uma determinada erva ou um composto ou um alimento que pudesse fazer bem para sua saúde. Então, no primeiro momento, a música é usada para se conectar com Deus. Num segundo momento, a música é usada para curar. A música, ela sempre foi uma plataforma de cura. Se a gente olha para a música enquanto indústria somente, a gente entende que a música é uma coisa menor e parte da indústria do entretenimento. Mas a verdade é que até a atmosfera terrestre, ela emite uma vibração musical que se conecta com o nosso organismo, sacou? Então a música, ela é, antes de qualquer outra coisa, um elemento de cura.
Eso.
So he said that if you think about music, the first thing that music does is to connect people with God. The second thing, many years ago, when people didn't know how to read and write yet, they would use music to memorize medicines, herbs, foods that would be beneficial for them. Therefore, it would be connected already with medicine. It would be a platform for cure. So he believes that music has always been connected and being this platform of cure. And if you think about the industry only, the entertainment industry, this is too small. Music is not that only. Actually, music in the atmosphere has some vibration that connects with the body, connects with us, and connects with everything that exists. So it's much bigger than that. So it's definitely something to heal.
You know, before we close out, years ago, I studied taiko drumming, the Japanese drumming. Yeah. And if you notice, when they play the drums, they use the big sticks, but they do a circular motion like this, right? Like this, and bring it in. And the theory behind that, the Buddhist theory behind that, is that the drum, like the conga right behind you, Naomi, the drum, every culture has a drum, and it's a perfect circle. It's a circle, it's a perfect circle that represents perfection. So when they're playing like this, you're drawing the perfection from the spirit of perfection into your soul when you play like that. And there are musicians, myself included, every time you sit down at a drum, that circle, it's a spiritual, like you said, it could be entertainment, you could have fun, but at the same time, it's always under the umbrella of feeding the spirit and sharing it. So yeah, thank you.
And you're never alone.
Exactly. Yeah. We weren't alone today, guys. Thank you so much thank you to everybody who's watching, all the people who are out there watching. Thank you to Lisa Kinde, Naomi Diaz. Thank you to Emicida. Thank you to Marcela for the translation. This has been a lot of fun. I always have a lot of fun when I hang out with you guys.
Thank you.
I have to say thank you all for joining us for this special conversation. Summer Stage Anywhere is hosting daily digital performances in July and August. Subscribe to this Summer Stage channel and check out summerstageanywhere.org for the lineup. Gracias, obrigado.
Obrigada.
Okay.
Arigato.
Arigato.
Papa.
Tanoragalam. Merci.
Papa.
And Kanban. Kanban is thank you in Vietnamese.
Wow. Hey guys, I had a lot of fun, man. Thanks a lot. I really